People, DG, I'm back. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 3, Crystal Palace 3, Arsenal 2, and yeah, we lost. Now forgive me for the late reply. I was at the game and I've just got back home. It's 9:30 basically, so it's an extremely late review, but what can I say, man? The Premier League's a funny old one. We was laughing at United earlier. We got slapped. Don't get it twisted. We lost 3-2. You lost 4-0, United fans. A lot of my United fans supporting friends are giving me verbal. We're still ahead of you. Chelsea fans, even my Chelsea supporting friends that are giving me verbal. Until you play tomorrow, we're ahead of you as well. I'm shameless like that. Spurs lost, United lost, Arsenal lost. All agendas put to the side. But on a more serious tone, people, we know going into the game what it meant. Again, we knew what we had to do coming into the game. Spurs and United dropped points. It was a chance to go 5 clear of United and go ahead of Spurs into third, which would put us in a good position, especially because we've got Wolves in midweek, which is going to be a tough game, and us Arsenal fans have been looking at that like it's a top 6 game for the last couple of weeks now. So we owed it to ourselves to kind of loss prevention, claim 3 points. If we were to get 6 points this game week, top 4 would be probably nailed on. So we know what we need to do. We've seen what other people have done in regards to their results. We just need to win games. We've only got 2 games at home. Away form, we're very iffy, to be nice and kind to us. Home form, you thinking we need to take 4 points from home. So it is quite gutting. Palace going into the game, like I said, they're well, they've got 40 points now, but they're just shy of 40 points at the time. So they very much want to get that. They're not in relegation issues, but just confirm mathematically they can't be relegated. It's a top 6 game, so it's somewhat loss prevention. Going into the game as well, I must admit the tactics did throw me off. I did expect rotation. I mean, Unai Emery was talking about squad rotation all week. There is going to be squad rotation because I keep saying the output in terms of performance and the effort for these players to run up and down and the energy levels, it's a lot. So I was first shocked to see, I think Koscielny had to start, and I think I said him in my preview, but I was shocked to see him not rested because I feel he's played a lot of football. But I was shocked to see Maitland-Niles not included. Midfield, fair enough, his hand's been forced with Xhaka deemed injured. Ramsey's obviously out. Did think Torreira would start, but again, rotation. The pivot did concern me, and like you saw in the game, Guendouzi and Elneny clearly doesn't work. And then there weren't too many other fusses, to be fair. Mavropanos came in, and like I told you, we'll get onto it, but he's at that stage where you've got to take these mistakes that are going to come into his game because he has to unlearn a lot of stuff, but you can't gain experience till you're given a chance. Felt Monreal not starting, in hindsight, was an L and is shown. So yeah, there was around 6 changes. I felt initially first 10 minutes we played like a side that made 6 changes. We were quite throughout the whole game, sideways and backwards passes, and then multiple moans and groans throughout the stadium from Elneny in particular was evident. There was no fluidity in our team. We played like a team that made 6 changes. That pivot that we have isn't the best. I felt probably 3 at the back in hindsight. We was a bit too defensive, a bit too cautious. A lot of people are saying Unai Emery kind of writ off Palace or was a bit naive against Palace, and some of that might be true, but I mean, he went 3 at the back, 5 at the back at home, so that's someone, in my opinion, he might have taken his foot off the gas, but that's someone that's very much trying to mitigate against the threat of Zaha and all their other players. And to be fair, the first 10, very stale, very flat, in my opinion, sideways passes, not really any inspiration throughout the whole of the first half. Evidently an issue with movement. There was not enough movement for the men in possession. Ozil was playing out of his skin, in my opinion. I feel Lacazette was alright, and I feel Guendouzi, even though he gave the ball away a lot and didn't have the best of games, he's at least trying, and it was nice to see him getting in the handbags with Zaha. Kohler, you know what you're going to get with Kohler down our left-hand side, always in their opposition's box, and to be honest, Kohler's movement and stuff was all there, but his delivery weren't. Jenkinson, Emery's deemed that he's the man to play, and he's the man to play, but obviously he's not the best going forward, and he killed all of our play going forward. I feel Mustafi, prior to his mistake in the second half, was actually doing all right, and I think Elneny, the one crossfield pass he attempted, Jenkinson couldn't control it. I felt Mavropanos did alright as well. He had an effort. Yeah, so I feel, I've obviously got my stats. This is the phone I was using in the game, not stats, my notes, people. So I felt it was a dodgy opening period. I did feel quite nervous when Palace were getting down our right-hand side, their left, because they were getting in behind on a bit too much. And I felt from the off, we were showing Zaha inside a bit too much. Now, it doesn't take a genius to work out Zaha's on the left-hand side. He wants to come in onto his right. What's he going to do next? He's either going to link up and shoot. And there was a couple sort of near misses sort of things. Mustafi played one lovely pass in the first minute, which we should have taken advantage. It felt that we could score goals because Onene had an effort that went over. Palace was getting there. I felt it was a bit of a, I wouldn't say scrappy start, but a bit of a bitey start sort of thing, because we were snapping at ankles. They were trying to, they clearly had a game plan of time wasting with Guita and to kill any fluidity we sort of had, and it worked to a T, to be fair, man. There was a couple of meaty challenges when Guendouzi and Zaha in particular. But yeah, I felt we started off not the best of sides. I feel if you're Crystal Palace coming away from home, you're having a good start because we're not really having any pressure. I can't tell you how many times throughout that whole game I saw a ball just go over the top for Aubameyang, and I don't feel Aubameyang's movement or he played that particularly well today. I was quite disappointed with Aubameyang, but we don't play to anyone's strengths. We're playing in front of Palace. We're playing very slow. All of this is allowing them to keep their team sheet, remain rigid, and allowing them to pick us off when they want to. Like I said, it was borderline nervous and shambolic defending as well at times today, people, man. It was, I remember there was an incident, Leno made a fantastic double save in the first half, but before that he spilt the ball as well. I feel Koscielny was alright today, but he was a bit shaky as well at times. Everybody in the back four, five, depending on how you want to call it, weren't the best of games. But the one thing as to where we lost this game was, similar to Everton, we're not concentrating in defensive periods. We've actually improved offensively and defensively from set pieces today, and there was none of that today. It was possibly our worst home performance of the season, possibly up there for worst performances in my opinion. Set pieces, we let ourselves down. Now Mavropanos, I keep telling you lot, he's at that stage where he has to play. Similar, I wouldn't even call it mistakes, but lessons that he's going to learn today. It's going to happen, innit? We need him to go through this, and he's going to make similar mistakes before. I can't remember who he brought down from Palace, people. Admittedly, I'm itching to watch the game again. But all I remember is Mavropanos kind of makes a challenge he doesn't need to. The attacker buys it off him. And set pieces, we know Crystal Palace, whether it's penalties, whether it's free kicks, whether it's dead ball situations like corners or free kicks or whatever, they present a threat from it because that's their sort of side, and because they want to take advantage of us, and we look shaky with that all game. So like I said, Mavropanos brought down the man. It's a lovely ball in from Crystal Palace. I must admit, I did think Benteke was offside, but that's just my Arsenal fan talking, and I have to watch the replays again. Assuming he wasn't offside though, people, it's a good goal from them. It's a lovely set piece. They've worked it to perfection, but our marking is atrocious. Whether it's zone or whether it's man marking, it's atrocious. We're not doing our jobs properly, and they take advantage, and it's put in by Benteke. I was next to where he was celebrating. I must admit, it was an elite celebration when Benteke does that thing in front of the away fans, and they deserved it, to be fair. They deserved it, to be fair, with you on the scheme of things, because it was coming. Because I don't feel we necessarily defended the best to defended to the best of our abilities in them regards, man. It was really coming. Silly foul from Mavropanos, like I said, and a yellow card, and he would have learned his lessons without a doubt. I did think there was goals in the game, but I did feel in the first half we're trying to be a bit too precise. Eye of the needle sort of pass unnecessarily. And again, Palace at this point have the lead, so this is just allowing them to sit back and just soak up the pressure sort of thing, if you get where I'm going, people. At half-time, my thoughts were naive defending let us down. Has let us down and is letting us down, especially at set pieces. Our final ball in an attacking sense hasn't been there. Guendouzi hasn't been perfect, but I think him, Ozil and Lacazette are the ones to try and get us back in this game, if anything. Possibly, I was looking at is that, first and foremost, and I made some footage, I might bring out a vid to do with the footage I got, but I was thinking, we've got a back three. We don't necessarily, back three centre-halves. We don't necessarily need this. We need to see changes. So I was possibly looking at either Jenkinson for Maitland-Niles, El Nene off, or looking at possibly bringing off one of the centre-halves quicker to bring on some more attacking players to free them. And I must admit, it was a fantastic decision to bring on Maitland-Niles and Iwobi in hindsight. But yeah, the final ball isn't there, and it's naive defending. I feel Mavropanos is playing quite well, but he's getting a tough education. There's times he's you're meant to engage with this with your wide man or Zaha, and he's backing off and allowing him into our area, and that actually happened in the last minute of the first half, if I remember correctly, and it could have been worse. I feel the refereeing, I'm always going to say it as an Arsenal fan, but I feel the refereeing was atrocious today. I feel Zaha, at any time he wanted to go on the floor, was buying fouls. I feel many fouls didn't go our way. I feel, together with Guita's time wasting, I don't know if he got booked for that, these were killing the fluidity out of our game. But that's what I'm thinking at halftime. Ultimately, we haven't done well enough to deserve anything out of the game at this moment. I felt second half, to be fair to us, you saw a better impact from us from the off. Literally, we were playing better. Like, there was a spring in our step. We're doing things in less passes. We're attempting to get beyond their back line a bit more. I feel Iwobi in particular, he's playing much better than people in the first half. He's playing like someone that didn't want to be on the bench and wants to start next game. Maitland now's the same, doing what Jenkinson probably failed to do in the first half, and go forward. And they were doing it to good effect, man. And we got in the game. We got back in the game in good circumstances, if you remember correctly, people. Again, I need to watch it on TV, but it's a good phase of play between our team. I'm sure Lacazette plays it into Ozil. Ozil, with them little dink trademark finishes, makes it 1-1. And it's like we're back in the game at this point. And I did feel we'll go and get a second and turn the game around and things like that, considering our home fans, the home support, how we play at home. And now that we're back in the game with the substitutions and with a better work ethic and just playing better as a team, we let ourselves down. We really let ourselves down. The second and third goal was atrocious defending, man. Zaha, forgive me if I'm wrong, but the second goal, I don't want to just blame Mustafi, because in the phase, like I said, I need to see the goal again, and I want to watch the game again to see everything. But I'm so sure, people, I was at the game, I'm sure it's a ball over the top, over Mustafi's head. He fails to deal with it. I was in the North Bank, people, so you've got to imagine that it's all happening that end, innit? Like, Palace are attacking, Arsenal are attacking my way, and Palace are attacking the other way, so it's difficult to see in it. But that's what it looked like. It's failed to deal with it. Zaha puts it in the back of it, and Zaha's been playing quite well, and Palace fans, they were quite vocal when they were scoring and winning, but they weren't doing none of that before. And credit where due, man, he's done his thing. The third goal, we obviously let ourselves down greatly as well, when they made it 3-1. It's a set piece. Again, I'm at the opposite end, but I hear it's Mustafi's man that he lost. Either way, while I can't name anyone individually, it looked like poor marking again. We're not switched on. Palace took that corner relatively quickly, and forgive me if I'm wrong, MacArthur rises quickest, and it's 3-1 at this point, and we've got it all to do. Now, it's lovely from Aubameyang. Now, I must hold my hands up, people, and like people reminded me when I was talking with people next to me, when Aubameyang picked up the ball on the right-hand side, he was doing it quite a lot. I was thinking, Aubameyang, like, your movement's annoying me today, because fair enough, the team's not picking you out, but you're not staying central, you're not staying on the last shoulder, you're dropping deep to get the ball, and it's not the game for that sort of thing. When he picks up the ball, I'm thinking, again, it's Aubameyang in areas that Palace don't mind. He's not going to do anything with it. He gets past Palace players a bit too easy, and that's probably the one thing, if you're a Palace fan or if you're Roy Hodgson, to say it was too easy. He gets past them too easy and he finds the back of the net, and I think he links up well with Lacazette, if I can remember correctly. So Lacazette's technically got 2 assists or been involved in 2 goals. Aubameyang's got his goal as he moves further in the race for the Golden Boot, and obviously the top goal scorer award that comes with that, and obviously being in the first Arsenal striker in a while to score 20 league goals, hold his hands up. But I feel he was quite anonymous. The movement with all our attacking players was quite poor today, and possibly Unai has to look at that, because again, it's great when we're winning, but too often than not, there's a lack of movement, and it appears that if it's not going to happen down our left hand side with Kohler, then we're in issues. And to be honest, you're in issues as a football club anyways if your fullback or your left wing back is your most attacking outlet. So yeah, we got, on paper it's 3-2. It's somewhat of a fight back. We played better in the second half. I feel Palace managed the game well. They time wasted when they could. As much as I don't agree with it, but we'd be calling and doing the same things, Arsenal fans. So I feel they killed the tempo where they could. They stayed on the floor when they could. They made the most of challenges. They wasted time. They sat back. I feel Palace were quite... I feel anytime Palace broke, they looked like they was going to score as well, man. I think it was more us being poor than Palace being good, in my opinion. But I'm always going to say that. I feel Zaha was good. I feel the midfielders worked hard. I feel they won the midfield battle more or less, because Guendouzi, I love Guendouzi. He was trying, but we know Guendouzi's a free spirit and very naive in terms of tactical discipline. So I don't need to spell it all out. Ozil's the cam. El Nene, I was a bit disappointed because you're the more experienced partner of the two. You should have been a bit pessimistic and stayed back. El Nene didn't offer anything. I don't like to scapegoat anybody, but I feel El Nene in particular was anonymous. Jenkinson, I don't even feel Jenkinson was that bad. I just feel he offered nothing going forward, and he just played like someone that hardly plays. Like Elneny the same. They played like players that hardly feature, and we played like a team today that made 6 or so changes. Now, win, lose or draw, you don't know. I don't just individually blame one person. Maybe in hindsight, Unai Emery didn't have to go 5 at the back. I would have went with that, or with I said 4-3-3 in my team, but maybe he didn't have to play 5 at the back, and he quickly saw the errors in his ways, backed up when he went 4 at the back for the second half. Possibly not so many changes, because for me, we don't know the knocks, and people got different rates, but surely if 33-year-old, 34-year-old Lauren Koscielny doesn't need rest, then why does Maitland-Niles and all of these players? Again, there could be knocks, there could be underlying factors we don't know about. Damn it, Unai Emery has the right to use the squad in whichever way he can, but possibly them changes were poor. At the end of the day, the manager has to take 50% of the blame, but the players are out there. The players, they were playing, there was a bit of nerves, and it's again, the players choked. They knew exactly what they needed to do going into the game, so they have to hold their hands up. I feel several players should have realised what sort of game it was and changed how they wanted to play, Elneny in particular, and they just weren't at it. They just weren't at it, man. Palace had, I'm sure they had more efforts and more shots than us, so if we're at home, where our home form is better, and a side that is technically, mathematically still trying to fight relegation has come in here, scored 3 goals and taken 3 points, then you can only ask questions of us. Considering we've been alright defensively of late, it was a poor game, man. I feel even Leno was poor with his distribution as well, man, to be fair with you. Again, I need to watch the game again, but I actually feel even Mustafi was doing okay until the second half. He was doing alright, but we shot ourselves in the foot, people. Similar to the game against Everton, we failed to defend accurately from set pieces properly. We just weren't at it, and we hold our hands. And these are the harsh lessons you learn in the Premier League. This was a chance to make ground on United and put pressure on Spurs. I know Spurs, being the kings of putting pressure, would have loved that. And we choked. We're always here to say when Spurs have bottled, and we're there to mock United losing 4-0 to Everton. We choked. It is what it is. We go again. I'm still hopeful in regards to the top 4, but it's almost an impossible task now, because you've got to put in a great result against Wolves. You can take nothing but 3 points from them. We've still got Brighton at home. We've still got Leicester away. We've still got, who else we've got away? Burnley, which is going to be a tough side to break down. Hopefully, I'm sure Burnley's in the last game of the season. Hopefully by the time we face them, their foot's off the gas. But it's a tough ask, man. And if you're Chelsea, you're laughing, because what they play on the Monday, they know exactly what they need to do, and you wonder how many chances we're going to get, to be fair with you, because we're going to look back in there if we don't get top 4, not just of the games we lost in or dropped points in the running, but you're going to look at games like against Palace, which Palace have taken 4 points off us this season. That's great for Palace, to be fair. Chelsea took 3 off us. City took 3 off us. Well, did they take 6 off us? They took 6 off us. Not to, obviously, I'm cherry picking with them and them two and the Liverpools and stuff like that, and we took 4 off United and Spurs, it must be said. But what I'm getting at is when you look at the Palace away, Palace at home, West Ham obviously away, Everton away. What other times have we dropped down points this season? Even United, I'd even say United away from home, we should have taken 3 points and we messed up and let Lingard score. Obviously, I can cherry pick, and hindsight's a great thing, but the more we kind of drop these points, people, when we can advance on our rivals, the more your luck runs out. And the only good thing is that everybody seems to be choking, and Spurs lost this week, United lost this week, so we can kind of go again, sort of thing. But we need to pull it out. We really need to pull it out. United got, what, City in the next game? Forgive me if I'm wrong. Spurs, I'm sure they've got a Brighton or something like that. We've got Wolves, and I'm not sure who after that. But we need to move serious, man. I can't understand the resting players as well, because we're at that period where the best players need to play, man. Obviously there needs to be rest, and I get players need to be rested, and I'm fully behind that, people. You know me. But the same logic, these are some of the most fittest athletes in football in history. These are some of the most looked after athletes in football in history, whether it's physios, workout regimes, eating regimes, hell, body temperature now. They've got all the to make them hotter and make them colder. So surely recovery rates or medical teams are doing their homework in regards to the build-up at this time of the season. I don't understand resting some of these players, man, because Liverpool are not out here resting all their players. They are resting some, and some have more generous squads, and we do have injuries. And I get the rotation, because we did need to make rotations, like I said, but it's coming back to haunt us when we rotate sides. I feel Torreira should have started today as well. Elneny and Guendouzi doesn't work. At least with Torreira and Guendouzi, Torreira's a bit more pessimistic of the two in that he will drop a bit. And then I don't know why he was ever called a defensive mid. He wants to go forward and get involved and do all that Arsenal stuff, but the problem is he hasn't got the ability and he goes backwards. So it leaves a mad hole because you've got Guendouzi doing his thing, Ozil either dropping deep to get the ball, be a 10, and now Nene doing his thing. There's gaps in the midfield, and this is why I tell you, look, we need two sorts of midfielders. It showed we need someone that, if Xhaka's not there, someone that wants to build play and try and dictate the tempo sort of thing. And it showed we need someone that can put a foot in, because if Torreira is suspended, injured or ill, or just needs a rest or rotation or bad form, our midfield goes to pieces. Obviously, we are without our probably 3 first-choice midfielders in Aaron Ramsey. Torreira didn't start, and there was issues in regards to his fitness. I must mention that. And Xhaka's not in the matchday squad, so he's either not fit or something's happened, or he's being rested properly, because obviously he came off against Watford or whoever our last game was. So yeah. Obviously, moments like this, as much as I praise Gooner and have praised him, he's got to hold his hands up, because I feel he has tinkered ridiculously with the side. Possibly, I didn't mind 5 at the back, but possibly he shouldn't have started with that. But it is what it is at this moment in time now, people. We can only move forward with what's actually happened. So, on that note, I'm going to keep it moving. People, Deluded. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 3. Congratulations to Crystal Palace, like I said, man. I feel they deserve their points. What more can I say? People, I'm out.